20.
What is going on? Welcome back. 3rd and 20 podcast up to episode 41. My name is Frank Entwistle. We got the main man himself, Mr. Mustache over there. Steed, what's going on?
Going good. Today's St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yeah, it is. It is St. Patrick's Day.
Nice greed, dude. Nice greed.
Yeah.
I wish I could pinch you right now, dude.
Didn't get the memo, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, let's just start off with it for the teams that, I guess, found gold. That's the thing with St. Patrick's Day, right? Leprechauns, that kind of stuff,
Yeah, leprechauns going over the rainbow. Lucky Charms, I think, is involved.
Yeah. Well, free agency. Let's see which teams were able to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow here. But first thing we have to touch on is the Patriots just balling out in free agency. We released a video, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, kind of predicting this in a way. I don't know why people were so shocked to see the Patriots spending a lot of money. I mean, this is the first year in a long time they've had. Have they even been top 3 in cap in our lifetime?
I don't remember any time. The last big free agent signing they had was, of course, like Gilmore, but like to just spend the dough out there and literally go from worst tight end play of the league last year to have 2 of the highest paid tight ends on your team. Like, yeah, they're just Belichick got the stimulus check a little early and he's just been cashing out.
Yeah, he's just balling out. So I think, everyone's talking about the tight ends. I like the signing of the tight ends. I had reiterated plenty of times that Patriots, they were a team that they wanted to play power football, but their tight end play was probably the worst in the league. Now they can play power football, line up 22, 21 personnel, and they got great tight ends. And tight end in Jonnu Smith that you can line him up as a receiver a lot of the time. So,
yeah.
I feel like I mentioned this on all the podcasts, but I think that teams looked at the Browns last year with Stefanski, saw what they were doing with their multiple tight end packages, and you saw how crazy their offense was at the end of the year. It seemed like they were putting up 40-plus points every week, and I think that the smart teams, it's a copycat league in the NFL. That's what word on the street is. I think that we're going to see teams try to copy the Browns. The Patriots kind of kicked off the whole, hey, if you don't have a tight end, you're not going to be a great offense. Other teams learn from that. You see all the top offenses in the NFL have good tight end play, it seems like right now. And the Patriots joined the bandwagon. Their draft picks didn't pan out. It's still early. They can still develop. And I wouldn't be surprised if they went with 3 tight end sets. I think that that's something that people are forgetting is that that's what the Browns do. They run 3 tight end sets. It's not just 2 tight ends. It's not one. It's 3 of those motherfuckers. And I think that they're going to line up big on big. And especially when you have a quarterback like Cam Newton, that's one thing that the Browns don't have is Baker Mayfield can run, but he can't Cam Newton run. So I think that they're going to line up big. They're going to see the look pre-snap. If they don't like it, they can go 5 wide like the Browns do. But then you also have that element of, if we like the look for Cam Newton, then we can have Cam Newton run, right? So you have a whole lot of options that you can have on offense, but I think the big one for the Patriots was on defense. We've been saying that defense last year was a front 7 away from being, in my opinion, just as good as the 2019 defense. Maybe not as good, but on that level, on a similar level. Now you look at, they have they got Devin Godchow, Judon, you get Hightower back. They re-signed one of their D tackles. The name's escaping me right now. You still have an entire draft with free agency to go. Like, this front 7, you get Godchow, Judon, and Hightower back on your defense. That is adding 3 studs to your front 7. It's exactly what this defense needed. They signed another corner. Like, we had been saying it that don't sleep on the Patriots defense. I'm not sure that many people were, but I think that the public has been kind of underrating the magnitude that this defense could be. We saw the Steelers defense last year carry that team basically 11 games to start off 11-0. Why can't we see the same thing with the Patriots in this AFC?
Yeah, easily. It'd be interesting to see all these guys on the field and like Dante Hightower and get back, and the secondary still going to be nasty, and the front seven should with Judon and the others. It just seems like it's more of a complete package, and which like their defense was a big reason why they went 7-9 last year too, with the struggles of Cam and the offense in general, and like. Is Cam going to be the guy? Like, I know there's still rumors out there with Deshaun, and they definitely have like the capital to get Deshaun, I would think. But even if they don't, I mean, just talking about the offensive side of it, Cam Newton's best years is when he had Greg Olsen in Carolina, and now you put two really good tight ends around him. I wouldn't be surprised, like with a full off season of OTAs and training camp and everything, really see Cam Newton. Not back to MVP Superman Cam, but, back to a durable top 20 quarterback that can win you some football games.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about Cam Newton because I think the whole plan for the Patriots was let's get beefy. I mean, you got Trent Brown back. So if he's healthy, you just got your stud tackle again. I think this is going to be a power football team. And that's what they tried to do last year.
You still got a whole draft. You still got a whole draft.
And the front seven, I think that getting Judon and Godchow and Hightower back, it's going to mitigate those Rams-esque games that we saw from this team last year, where we saw Cam Akers and the Rams just pound the ball down the Patriots' throats. They were exposed in some games like that, where they weren't able to just basically sell out and stop the run. I mean, there were some games like the Ravens where they were kind of able to stop the run, but as long as you don't have those games where they get brutally dominated up front, I'm liking this Patriots team. But aside from the Patriots, the next thing I want to touch on before we kind of get to our winners and losers is the wide receiver market. I think that the wide receiver market's a little more dry than people were anticipating. I'm pretty sure the highest paid receiver out of the class right now is Aguilar. Not necessarily in total cash, because Corey Davis got more total cash, but average per year, Aguilar is number one right now at 13. So I kind of want to pose this question to you: what are you expecting to see from guys like Juju, Galladay, Curtis Samuel, and those kind of younger, more higher end free agents? Do you think they're going to settle, kind of like Corey Davis did, or maybe try to take a prove it deal?
I think some will settle and some will take a prove it deal. I think Galladay would be a perfect example for a guy that just wanted to go and get a prove it deal, because I mean Galladay's got all the talent in the world, and if he can stay healthy for a full season with a competing team, and just ball out, then I think he would hit the open market the next year and teams would just fall in love with that. Now as settler, I can see Juju, because I'm not a huge Corvette fan, but like, sorry, I had to, but like I thought there would be more traction in this receiver class. I thought Galladay would already got a huge deal being like the number one. I thought Allen Robinson would get a pretty hefty deal, and you just saw him just get franchise tag. So it's tough to say, because like I'm not in the mind of these players and what they want, but I think at this point, if you're not getting the deal that you want, like the most money you think you can get, I would just take a prove it deal and just trust in your talent.
Yeah, this is going to sound weird coming from a Steelers fan. I love Juju. I want him to sign this prove it deal with the Steelers, but if I'm Juju, I honestly think I'd look to go to a top team in the league. Like, I would just take scraps to play with the Chiefs or one of those teams that's a Super Bowl contender, because not only are you going to... Because my whole theory right now is everyone's saying, oh, well, Juju's not the number one. He's not an alpha, right? We saw that in Pittsburgh when Antonio Brown left. But who cares if he's able to go to a team like the Chiefs and be that number two that they've been looking for aside Tyreek Hill? Who cares how much you're getting paid, because you can go out, try to win a Super Bowl. I'm going to assume you have success unless Patrick Mahomes and that team just gets absolutely decimated. And then the next year, you might be able to come out with a ring and a huge contract. So I agree with
Yeah.
you. I think these receivers, I think we're going to see more prove-it deals than initially expected. Galladay, I'm pretty sure there was some injury concerns, and that's why we haven't seen him get signed yet. I don't really
Yeah.
know if that's valid or not. I know he was hurt a lot of last year. So let's get into the winners and losers. I'm going to start here with the winners and losers. My first winner is a team that we did a mock offseason on, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. This is a team that the deals, it was just a lot more favorable than we had predicted. Getting guys like that corner, that Verrett.
Verrett
Yeah,
for
you
1
got
year.
him. We on our mock offseason, they got him 1 year, 5.5 or 6.5. We gave him like a 2 year, $9.5 million deal. So that is a great deal if you're a Niners fan. Not only did you re-sign Trent Williams, Kyle Shanahan is now reunited with Alex Mack, who was unreal with him in Atlanta during those Super Bowl years. So offensive line, center was a major need for this football team. We went out and in our mock offseason got Lindsley, who went to the Chargers. So they save a lot of cash. Get Alex Mack, who, you're not going to have him for as long, but he's just as talented as someone like Lindsley at his peak, right? When he's playing really well. You bring back Juszczyk. They brought in another corner. Man, you're able to keep Jimmy Garoppolo, it looks like. I feel like all the cards kind of fell in place for exactly what the 49ers were looking to do. And now they have like 10 draft picks to fill in the rest of their defense and almost just take best player available. I think this offseason really went well for that ball club.
Yeah, I love what the 49ers are doing. Same thing with the draft picks. This is a team, regarding if they don't get hurt again, it's a team that jumps right back in the mix in the West, and not even the West, but the whole league. We see how scary this team is. They aren't fully healthy, and to get some of the deals they did, and to rebolster the line, and
the line, man, the fact their line is going to be so good. It feels like
it's crazy. Hate to see Alex Mack leave, but he's in the later part of his career. It's nice to see him go back to a contender and a guy that kind of probably brought him into Atlanta. And I like Juszczyk, dude. Juszczyk just staying on the Niners. I like the fullback. Good. Yeah, he's so good. He's so good. And we know Shanahan loves his little fullback, so it's good to see him really. Because when we did the mock draft, we cut a lot more and we were spending more on players. But I think they beat us at
Oh yeah, they definitely beat us. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Listen, that's why they're in those seats and we're not. They definitely.
Well, also John Lynch is just an incredible GM too. So
he is really good.
I see why now. We gave it our best effort though.
Yeah,
we do better what the Jets have done.
I think the part of the problem was I did not think that some of these deals that they got were going to be as favorable. Like the Verrett example, I think that we paid more for Trent Williams as well. But good for them, because just looking at that team, I thought that they were going to be in a lot worse spot, a month ago. But man, the moves they made. If Alex Mack is at that similar level to 2017, 2018, holy crap, this offense, they're going to have one of the best offensive line in the league. So they don't need running backs when the holes are gaping wide for their run game. And they don't need insane quarterbacks if you got 4 seconds to throw the ball. So good for them. Let's see how they can rebuild the rest of their defense at the offseason. My other winner, and it's weird because I don't think this team is necessarily going to make massive strides. I just kind of like the value in some of the deals they got, is the Bengals. They were able to sign Trey Hendrickson, who the Saints pass rusher. I really liked what I saw out of him last year. They got Chidobe Awuzie and Mike Hilton, some good defensive backs. I think this team still has way too many holes, but in terms of the value for the deals, maybe they overpaid a little bit for Hendrickson, but I think when you're a Bengals team, you got to risk it for the biscuit a little bit. I thought they had a really good offseason. Steed, who do you think some of your offseason winners are, aside from the Patriots and the obvious candidate,
Yeah, I don't know if this is obvious or not, but I kind of like what the Bucks are doing, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they're just a huge winner. They get the extension Brady already, so we get another at least 2 years of Tom Brady. So probably 2 more Super Bowls. Yeah, Levante David, Chris Godwin on a free franchise tag, and they locked down Shaquille Barrett, who was like so huge in their playoff run. It's been one of the better pass rushers in the last 2 years, and they get back Gronk, and
you got the whole band back together.
Yeah, it's basically like what they said at the parade, like, you're not going anywhere, and they lived up to it. And why I like this is because, like, these are some more of the veteran guys now on the team, right? And they had a good core of, like, rookie players last year. So, like, that nucleus of defense that was just flying all over the place, like, mid-season to, like, the end of the season, to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're going to be back. And they can only get better. And Brady another year. So, like, them keeping the whole team together and just kind of having that, I think that's going to be a good vibe. Everybody gets their deal. Everybody's happy. You're in Florida with some relaxed tax laws, so you're not getting, you get your money. So, I mean, I hate to say it because they're in my division, but, dude, the Bucs are going to be scary once again.
Yeah, especially when you look at the Saints. I mean, the Saints have... They kind of went all in last year, and they're paying the price for it now. The Falcons are in a transition. The Panthers have been in a transition. Yeah, they're up and coming, but it's going to be tough for them this year to compete with the Bucs without making some massive moves. I agree with you. I think that the Bucs, Brady's in that system. They get all the guys back. Like, a lot of people thought they were primed for success last year, and they did have success last year. Well, the road may have just gotten a whole lot easier with the struggles that other teams have gone through with the cap, whereas the Bucs were able to maneuver the cap extremely well and keep everyone except for Leonard Fournette right now. That's the only guy that really is leaving.
Be back. My boy would be back.
So,
I got one. Winners? I got one more winner, and they haven't done much, and I talk about this team a lot, and it's because I love this team. The Cleveland Browns, they get their safety, John Johnson. Like, I think that's just a home run pickup right there. Their secondary play and their safety play last year was, it was a little fraud spot, little hole that they needed to fill. They got their guy, and I mean. Talk about him, Tat McKinley. He's on the team, so maybe he can figure something out. But the reason why I like even though the Browns aren't doing much, but they got their safety here, this is where I like where the Browns are transferring to, is that 3 years ago when they went all in on these picks, Odell, everybody just trying to get like this Hollywood kind of team. I don't see them doing that. I see them looking at the team. Making more sensible moves, acting more like a top-end franchise in the league when they're attacking the free agency part, and that's why I'm huge on it, and they got the draft coming up, easily fill up some other holes in their team, but they haven't done much, but I like the Browns.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point that I hadn't thought of. It seems like they have a much more tactical approach to this team right now, to this ball club. They needed a safety. They get that kid now healthy, hopefully, from LSU.
Delpit.
Yeah, Delpit. I loved Delpit. I still think that he's a guy that has a ton of potential, but now you don't have to rely on someone like him.
You got a proven veteran. You got a proven player.
Yeah. So I agree with you, though, because I am scared of the Browns as a Steelers fan. If they're a team that's able to get a defense that is on that level that the Steelers and Ravens defenses have been on, not necessarily saying the Browns need to be better than the Steelers or Ravens, because their offense was insane.
Top 10 defense.
But yeah, if you just get a top 10 defense, they're a playoff team. It'd be hard for them not to be a playoff team.
I mean, dude, they finally have an identity. It's time for us to wake up. The Browns are going to be good.
All right, what about some of the losers? I'm going to go first with my loser, and I think my first... And this is as of right now. There's a lot of time left. But my first loser, I'm going to... Indianapolis Colts. I was expecting a whole lot more from this team earlier in the process. I know they're not a team that likes to go out and make a lot of, splash moves, so I understand that. It's just with how much cap that they had and the fact that they did make a splash move for a quarterback in Carson Wentz. We kind of saw what happened with Carson Wentz when you surround him with a top team. He's an MVP candidate. And then when you surround him with turmoil, he sucked. I was kind of expecting a little bit more aggressiveness out of the Colts in trying to get, especially when you see teams like the Titans, they've lost a lot. The Jaguars are the Jaguars. We can't realistically expect them to come out and be a playoff team next year. The Texans.
I mean, it's the Texans.
Yeah,
the Texans have made a lot of moves, though. Mark Ingram.
Yeah, they made a lot of moves, but geez, they're fucked, it seems like.
Yeah.
I thought that this is a prime opportunity for the Colts to really cement themselves as the number one team in the AFC South with just, whether it's a value deal or a splash deal, just something, just a little something, because they have some holes on their roster that they need to address in the draft, but I thought maybe just even add some depth. Obviously, the offseason has a lot of time to go. I was expecting just a little bit more urgency from this ball club.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's not even to... Of course, it's to win their division, and I still think they would be the favorite, even though today. But, this is a talented team, and you clear up some of those holes. You don't go number one in the division. You come to an actual Super Bowl threat. And I just hate it from that team because I do like the Colts and what they're doing, but I agree with you. I think they're missing out on the 8 ball, and they're not taking advantage of how poor their division is and how much they could go to the next level with that team. But maybe they have a plan,
Yeah, I guess some of the other losers, and this has kind of been a common theme with this offseason, is just the teams that didn't have cap. So my Steelers, the Steelers' rivals, the Ravens, I guess the Saints is a big loser, and we expected these teams to lose, but I think it hurts a little bit more this year just because, the Steelers weren't even able to sign someone like Tyson Alualu, who only got $3 million per.
Yeah.
That's a guy that was a pretty crucial part of that defense this year, and they weren't able to sign him. The Ravens have been losing a lot of good talent. I'm not saying that these teams are screwed. I think that these are too good of organizations to not overcome this. It's just... Man, when you're trying to compete with the Bucks and the Chiefs, who have been making moves and haven't lost a ton of talent, it stings that much more. And you kind of went from last year at one point to being at that level. Are they a level below the Bucks and the Chiefs and those kinds of teams right now? Even the Bills.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, another team that I think is just a big loss, and I mean, they're in the news every day, but the Seahawks, man. First of all,
yeah,
it's like every team in their division is getting better. They got problems in paradise with Russell Wilson that he wants to be traded, that he wants to upgrade the offensive line. Well, we just saw the 49ers, your rival, just get 2 huge upgrades in the offensive line. So Russell Wilson's got to be sitting there. They're not going to trade Russ, and they're losing pieces on their crappy defense too. I mean, they've lost pieces. I know they cut Dunlap. I think they're trying to re-sign him. They didn't want to take on that much money, and they lost one of their corners, Griffin.
Shaquille Griffin. He got a massive deal.
He got a massive. I wouldn't pay that dude that much, but
I don't think you'd pay him anything.
I wouldn't pay anybody. I mean, I guess I'd pay Jamal Adams, but if it was Griffin or who's the guy I don't like on that? Who's the other corner?
He was a receiver coming into the league, and he switched to corner. He's like one of the only guys that successfully really.
I don't know why.
Keep on thinking.
It's not Trayvon Diggs. It's
No, I can't think of his name either.
God,
but I know he was
awful.
a receiver coming into the league.
It's because I haven't complained about him in so long, but anyways, yeah. I mean, you've seen the Cardinals get J.J. Watt. The Rams have got. Kept Leonard Floyd, got Matthew Stafford. We talked about what the 49ers have done. And the Cardinals today just got A.J. Green. And some more key players.
Yeah, they're getting screwed here.
I mean, if we had to make a prediction right now, I'm going to say, dude, I don't know if the Seahawks are going to win 5 or 6 games. I
think that's a little harsh, but with the division being that tough, it's not out of the question.
I mean, I look at the ladder of it. I mean, yeah, you could probably split the games between you and the Cardinals. The Rams, I don't know. They beat you twice last year. And then 49ers, I think the 49ers are still the best team in this division now. So, I don't know. I think Seahawks are just a big loser right now.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I had him written down. I was going to say him next. I think partly because of the fact that, they just have lost a lot of talent and haven't been able to refill. The second thing is Russell Wilson complained before free agency. If I'm Russell Wilson, I complained before free agency, hey, like, we're basically trying to do, it seems like, what the Rams have been doing, but we're doing a way worse job of it. What the hell am I doing here? Russell Wilson is a top 5 quarterback in the league. And that team, like, you just look at it when they go up against the Rams. Last year, we knew that Russell Wilson was a whole lot better than Jared Goff or John Wolford. Like, there's no question about that. But they can't give him any time. Like, they're just getting outplayed. They're getting outcoached. They're, out personnel. Like, it was just out everything from a team that we knew had the better quarterback. And even, like, the better receiver. Like, all the flashy players, right? They had the better flashy players. It's just the Rams had the better team. And I completely feel Russell Wilson's frustration in the fact that, man, just give me a team. Just give me a damn team, and we're a Super Bowl contender.
I would want to be out there so bad. I mean, I saw where they got the Bears made a trade offer for him. It apparently involved 3 first-round picks. I mean, Seahawks are not going to jump on that, but they say they got a plan. I ain't seen it yet. I've seen every team in their division get better, and I've seen Russell Wilson literally, like you said, like before free agency, say, "Hey man, I'm unhappy. Our offensive line sucks." And then
our defense sucks. Like, I'm the one who's good. Like, me and DK. Like,
a JV quarterback in high school could go out there against our secondary and throw up 200 yards. Like, I mean, golly.
Yeah, they're going to need to really knock this draft out of the park. They're going to need to do it. And they don't have their first-round pick. So,
pain.
They're really not in a great spot right now. You got any other real losers up to this point?
Let me see. You hit on the other losers.
We can easily move on to the next segmento here.
I think I'm good.
All right, well, let's move on to... Let's talk about the Bengals a little bit. Let's talk about the Bengals. Let's talk about Joe Burrow. I'll call it Joe Burrow's future with the Bengals. Okay. So... the Bengals are a weird team, right? They're a team that it's like everyone kind of agrees that they're up and coming. But with how good the AFC North is, with how much talent the Bengals need to have, do you really think this setup right now and the way that they're headed is going to get them into the playoffs and being a competing team in the AFC? Or do you think they're always going to be that team that's just rebuilding? And like, what does that mean for Joe Burrow, who is the franchise quarterback right now of this team? What do you think is going to happen with the Bengals in like a 3-year outlook? 3 years from now, is this Bengals team going to be a good team, or are they going to be in a similar spot to where they are now?
Dude, it's tough because like you do look at the division, and the Ravens look like they're always going to be pretty good as long as they have Lamar. And, of course, Harbaugh, and the Browns look sustainable, and the Steelers are the Steelers. And I look at the Bengals, and I'm like, all right, listen, that team was not so good last year. I mean, Joe Burrow played good before he got hurt. I can't buy into that team. So, I see, like, this team, like a Chargers team that could make, like, a run at it here. Like, if you ask me the Chargers in 3 years, yeah, I can see the Chargers maybe squeaking out a division run, definitely in the playoffs. Bengals, I'm not so sure. Maybe an 8-8, a little 7-9er, a little upset here and there. But like, they're going to have to just hit on some draft picks and that just become, great guys, like great players. I love Burrow, but I'm not buying into the Bengals staff and front office right now. I don't know. If you ask me in 3 years, it's just because the division is so tough. I can't tell myself that Oh yeah, the Bengals are going to be better than the Ravens in 3 years. They're going to be better than the Browns. Like I don't see that.
Man, this is such an interesting team because we all know that they're rebuilding. We all know that they're pieces away. It's almost, do we trust this Bengals staff to get Joe Burrow in that position?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't trust it. I don't really trust Zach Taylor, their coach. I think he's all right. It's just, that's a tough hand that he's been dealt there in Cincinnati. That is a tough organization to bring playoff wins and playoff success to. You know, I think the real question is, though, like, if you were to treat the Bengals as a penny stock, right, you can buy them, let's say, like, the Ravens are worth $10 and the Bengals are worth $1. Are you buying the Bengals at that low-ass price, or are you still just staying away from them?
I'm staying away.
Yeah, I think I'm staying away, too. I'm surprised. I thought that you would buy into the Bengals.
Dude, it's just, I mean, it's not that I don't hate the Bengals. I love Burrow, and, you know, we only got half a season with them, but I just look at, like, a team like the Browns who were, like, you know, maybe kind of similar situation a couple years ago, but, like, I just like where they're heading forward, where they've already hit the rebuild point. You know, maybe in 3 years, ask me again, and if the Bengals go 9-7, you know, in their third year, and it looks promising, yeah. But it's not like in these next 2 years, I could only see them combining for about 10 wins.
Yeah, you know, I just kind of question, like,
Especially
did
on
Joe
top of the
Burrow
AFC.
fuck up by not demanding a trade and just saying, dude, I'm not going to the Bengals? Like, because, dude, this is an organization. It feels like it's constantly one step forward, two steps back, or a step forward, a step back. Like, even with, like, I like their free agent signings, but, like, dude, they're just replacing guys that they lost, right? Like, without, and like you said, unless they completely nail a draft out of the park, right? They have like a Seahawks level draft where they just pick up all pros in like the third and fourth round. It's just going to be tough for this team to compete. I don't think it's impossible. It's just tough for them, and I don't really see it. So I just kind of question the future then for Joe Burrow if I don't see it. Is Joe Burrow just going to be another Carson Palmer? Is he just going to be a Phillip Rivers and maybe even have less success than those guys, or maybe less success than Phillip Rivers?
I like the Carson Palmer take.
Yeah,
I mean, Palmer had take once he got the hell out of, once he got out of there.
Yeah, so it's like I just kind of feel because like I don't think I'm necessarily sold on Burrow, but I liked what I saw out of him. It's just, dude, you have to carry. You have to take that Bengals team and put them on your shoulders to have success, it seems like. And that's tough for anyone to do. You just look at the stats of even guys like Aaron Rodgers. When the Packers have a bottom half of the league defense, he struggles to get a winning record. It just seems like the Bengals defense is miles away from being a top defense in the league. Yeah, they have some good players. Every team has good players. It's just I really do not see them putting it together. And what does that mean for Burrow then?
Yeah, well, one thing I will say about Burrow, and like I think this is a good trait. I think Baker has this too. Is if they're doubted on and they're put in a hard situation, which they both have been, Baker's just seated, but like Burrow's in a pretty similar situation. But you know, in college, it took him 4 years to really get to a spot where he could blossom and play, and then won the Heisman. And now he's in a spot where, yeah, he was a number one overall pick, but I mean, your back's against the wall too here because nobody's really expecting anything. We're saying here like, dude, I think you're just gonna waste away your career. So I think he has that trait where like he could take that and use it as like motivation, get this team to where like it's only been a couple times at the top of the division. But it's just like that's a long mountain to climb, and yeah. I think it's tough for anyone. It'd be tough for Tom Brady. I mean, you put Tom Brady on that team, I don't know. You put Patrick Mahomes, I don't know.
I agree. Like I still don't think they're a good team, even with those guys.
But they're rebuilding.
Let's move on to a different quarterback situation. The New Orleans Saints. We talked about it a little bit on the Dynasty podcast. Steed, I kind of want to hear your take on this situation because we did that Taysom Hill film analysis. I think that we both agreed that while Taysom Hill is not the most crazy quarterback of all time, in that Sean Payton offense, with his skill set, he was able to win some games. And if he develops a little bit, who knows what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
To you, who do you predict is going to win that quarterback battle there? Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston?
I think Taysom's going to start day one.
Wow, you do? I thought you were going to say Jameis.
No, I mean, Jameis... I just think there's more trust in Taysom Hill. I'm sure Sean Payton definitely loves Jameis. He wouldn't have brought him back if he didn't. But, like, I also think he loves Taysom Hill just as much, if not more. I don't know. Like, I still not fully believe Taysom Hill's there. I just think he will start day one. Now, I'm not saying he's starting week 16, but I don't know.
See, I have the opposite take. I think that Jameis is going to start initially. I think they're both going to play a little bit. By the way, 2-quarterback system. Just watch out for it.
No, it doesn't start with
I think that Jameis is going to start initially because you see the upside of Jameis. And everyone knows Jameis has that upside. But my thing, until Jameis Winston proves to me that I can trust him the entire game, I'm not really buying a ton of him.
That's why I'm starting Taysom Hill.
Yeah, that's the thing. Taysom Hill, I think, yes, he needs to improve. And I'm hoping I see that improvement. I'm kind of projecting a little bit that I think I'm going to get a little bit of improvement. If you watch that film analysis, we kind of saw that the guy's got one throw. He needs to have a throwing lane and a clean window. But you see that he has potential. Everyone thinks that Taysom Hill doesn't have the arm strength. The guy's got just as much arm strength as Matt Ryan. He needs to work on a lot of things, but you got probably one of the most, if not the most, quarterback-friendly coach in the league at the helm of the offense, with a guy that actually fits the system pretty well. You've seen how creative he can be with Taysom Hill. I think that Jameis might start at first, but then when Sean Payton realizes, okay, yeah, Taysom Hill might not be able to go out there and put up 50 points, I get a guy who I can at least trust not to turn the ball over. I get a guy who I can at least trust to make good decisions just with the rapid development we saw in Taysom Hill's overall game, his decision-making in 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Taysom Hill's finally able to start getting real practice reps at quarterback and really, Sean Payton's got a whole offseason to plan and game plan around if Taysom Hill is his quarterback, I think he can have some legitimate success. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a top quarterback, but with Sean Payton, that's the X factor. Sean Payton's going to be Sean Payton's scheme works with Drew Brees. I think it could also work with Taysom Hill. Maybe not as well. Like we saw Drew Brees, he's one of the better quarterbacks of all time, but I don't think the Saints need Taysom Hill to be Drew Brees to have success and win football games and get themselves in a position to win. They're a team that they like to go on those long, sustained drives, be good in the red zone, run the ball well, play good aggressive defense. With Taysom Hill, that fits. With Jameis Winston, it could. Jameis Winston's got more talent. I just have to see it to believe it with him.
Yeah. And maybe we'll see it in preseason. They should have a preseason, this year. It'd be an interesting quarterback battle. But I think Sean Payton's a guy on trust, and he's a guy that Taysom Hill's been there for a while, so he knows the system. And if they start struggling, yeah, I could see it. But I think Taysom Hill is his guy, and he's going to go with his guy to start out at least the season.
I'm a believer in Taysom Hill. I don't think he's going to be insane, but as a one-year guy, I don't know. I think the other thing we have to really realize is, I understand it's a joke between us, the 2-quarterback system. But I do legitimately believe that we could see it where it was almost like Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers, where Alex Smith would come out some drives, mainly when they would get in the red zone, so that you have the threat of Taysom Hill I think we could see a whole lot more of those Taysom Hill gimmicky kind of plays going on where they have, because Taysom Hill will play that tight end and slot receiver and be on the field with Jameis Winston regularly. And then you'll have, I think, more looks where you have Jameis Winston line outside. I guess we'll call it a wildcat. I don't think it's a true wildcat, though. I think we could see a lot more of that because right now the argument is it's either this guy or the other guy. I don't necessarily... Like, Sean Payton is one of the most creative coaches in the league. I don't think he's going to go into that mindset of it's either one guy or the other. He's the kind of guy, he's going to put his team in the best position to win. And if that's with two quarterbacks on the field, it's going to be two quarterbacks on the field.
Yeah.
And then you'll owe me a beer. Let's move on to our last segment of the day, of the episode. Where's the topic here? Bang. It's going to be an interesting version of a mock draft. So, we're going to go back and forth on picks. Steed, are you taking odds or evens for this?
I'll take odds. I'll take odds.
You're taking odds. Interesting. I thought you were going to come out here and take evens.
I don't want to pick for the Falcons.
Why not?
I want you to pick for the Falcons.
All right. I mean, listen. I'll make the Falcons the best franchise you've ever seen in this mock draft.
You better hit.
There we go. Got it on the screen. All right. So, so I have odds? No, you have odds.
Yeah.
All right, Steed. Well, who are you taking with the first pick?
I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but I got to do it. Kyle Trask, quarterback out of Florida. No, I'm going to take T-Law. I'm just, the T-Law, so, the draft starts now.
All right, well, if I'm the Jets, at pick 2, I'm picking up Zach Wilson. I think this is a pretty standard pick for the most part. I think Zach Wilson's just the second best quarterback in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
He's just too good to pass up on. All right, Steve. This is where the draft really starts.
Yeah,
we got the Dolphins here at 3. Who are you taking?
I'm a bigger Jamar Chase fan here, but because of what the Dolphins, I don't think the Dolphins need an outside threat, the inside threat, and I've seen where Devontae Smith is in some rankings at 3 behind Jalen Waddle, which I still don't understand. I'm going to take Devontae Smith here. Just let it be known, I'm more of a Jamar Chase fan, but I think Devontae Smith would help out Tua more and give this team a little more, pizzazz in the slot.
All right, well, with the 4th pick for your Falcons, I'm going to be picking up Penei Sewell.
Huge.
I understand that people are going to say, hey, you should draft a quarterback here. I just think that if I'm the Falcons, I'm going best player available, and that player is Penei Sewell, the left tackle out of Oregon. I think he's just too good to pass up on. This is a Falcons team that was not great with their offensive line last year, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So I'm going to be taking Penei Sewell.
I like that. So this is where it hurts for the Bengals because they could really do with Sewell here. But he's already off the board. So this is where I'm just going to take, I'm just going to go BPA, who I think is the best player available at this point. And I'm going to take Kyle Pitts. I'm going to give Burrow, a generational tight end. Next year, probably at the end of the year, is going to be an easily top 5 tight end in the game. Just give him to me, can do all the aspects in the game. And I'll worry about tackle in the second round for the Bengals.
All right, well, I'm going to be taking Jamar Chase then. I honestly have no idea how to spell Jamar Chase's name. I'm going to hope I get this right.
There's a hyphen after the J-A.
All right, there we go. I think I got it. Yeah, Jamar Chase, I just think he's... If I'm the Eagles, the first thing I need a receiver who won't drop the damn ball. Second thing is that I just need a surefire prospect. And Jamar Chase at 6, he looks like a surefire prospect. So I think he'll help them out in the red zone, which they definitely need. I think that, he'll open up the field a little bit and just be a really good player for Jalen Hurts. So Jamar Chase at 6, I think, is a great pickup for the Eagles.
Yeah, I like that. Lions, this is interesting because, we kind of they kind of need everything. I don't want to go quarterback, and I don't want to take Waddle here. I think Waddle could easily go here for some reason. But I'm going to go defense, and I'm going to take Micah Parsons. I still think Micah Parsons is the best defense player in this draft, and, just to get that linebacker to be the core of your team on a rebuilding defense would be huge. So I'm going to go Micah Parsons and just get a playmaker on my defense.
At pick 8 for the Panthers, I'm going quarterback here. The question is what quarterback, and I think the big problem for me with the Panthers is what is going to happen with Teddy Bridgewater, because I'm pretty sure that Teddy Bridgewater is pretty pissed off of that organization right now. I'm not 100% sure with that, though. And contrary to popular belief, I mean, if you watch the quarterback rankings I had, the two guys I'm choosing between here is Kellen Mond and Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the Panthers and what they need, I think that they need a guy to be a complete leader of that offense, a guy to really take control, change the locker room atmosphere of this team, to kind of have that Cam Newton swag that offense and that team had when they were able to make the Super Bowl. I'm going Mac Jones here for the Panthers at 8. This is a guy that I truly believe is going to be able to turn around an organization and just be the leader of this team. It's a young team. I think the Panthers need a guy they can rally around, and that is Mac Jones, the quarterback out of Alabama.
Yeah. All right. So the Broncos. This is interesting. I'm gonna take Caleb Farley. I'm gonna get a corner. They lost Bouye, right? AJ Bouye.
Bouye. Yeah, AJ Bouye.
Yeah, and I still like Farley over Surtain. I think he's just a better athlete and is kind of do everything. So I'm gonna get a corner, lock it down at 9.
The Cowboys at 10. Man, this is an interesting pick. What do I go here? It has to be defense.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Surtain is probably the pick here.
Yeah, I like that.
I think it has to be Surtain. There's just, after losing a Wouzier, we need a corner if we're the Cowboys. I was really hoping Farley would fall to me, but Surtain has to be the pick. Maybe J.C. Horn if you really like him. Maybe a trade down. Maybe a pass rusher, but I'll take Surtain.
All right. Here we go. The Giants. This is interesting because, I think the Giants need like a receiver or so. I'm going to let Waddle drop a little farther for me. I'm just going to keep on building up the defensive line and take Gregory Rousseau. They just signed Leonard Williams to a big contract. I still think you can never have enough pass rushers. I think he has a very high ceiling. And just to shore up the G-Men's defense.
49ers. See, this is a spot where I can pick up a quarterback here, especially with the quarterbacks that have fallen. I don't think I can pass up on one here. I think it's just too good of a spot. We could have taken a corner, but I think I can. Like the 49ers, we did this mock offseason. We got so many picks. So, I'm going to make the bold pick. I've been high on him. I'm going Kellen Mond here at 12. I think that this is the situation. Yeah, you can laugh at me all you want, but this is the exact situation that I want for Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
He gets a year to develop. I think that he really fits the 49ers scheme. And you get a guy that is way more talented than Jimmy Garoppolo. He has the instincts that Jimmy Garoppolo has. And you just get a way higher ceiling. So I get a year to sit him and then develop him into the quarterback that'll take over. Mm-hmm. Dude, that's a dream scenario for Kellen Mond.
I like that. 13, I think it was a pretty easy pick for the Chargers. Take the next best tackle off the board. I'll just take Rashawn Slater, shore up Justin Herbert's protection, and just move on.
Vikings, man, this is another interesting spot because if I'm the Vikings, and I see that that what's his face is on the board. Justin Fields. I'm not really sure I can pass up on him.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Realistically, I could rebuild my defense, but I do think that I'm going to take Justin Fields here if I'm the Vikings. I think it's just too good of a value pick to pass up. He falls all the way to 14. This is a guy that I have a top 10 grade on. So I understand that Kirk Cousins and this team, you want to go defense, but you don't get quarterbacks with the talent level of Justin Fields at 14 every draft.
Yep. All right, so 15 is interesting because, I mean, Patriots could go a little. I think, you know what? We haven't, the Patriots, we haven't really hit on a receiver prospect. I think Jalen Waddle here at 15 is a good price. You still get a guy with a high ceiling, it's fast, put him in the slot. And now, if we're rocking with Cam Newton another year and we just spent some money, some dough on some offensive weapons for him, you add in another weapon. I mean, we're getting scary again, and I like that pick for the Patriots.
All right, here we go. Dude, this is a tough pick here. I'm the Cardinals. I guess I take a corner.
Yeah.
I think it has to be the pick. I guess I'll go J.C. Horn. Maybe some people will consider this a reach. I don't know necessarily. I do really like J.C. Horn. This is a team we need a corner. I don't know what's happening with Patrick Peterson. Maybe I'm overthinking a little bit. We just signed A.J. Green today. See, the thing is with the Cardinals is that I was thinking maybe we take a linebacker. There are some linebackers that, like, Owosu Koromoa is here. And I think that could be a really nasty pickup.
Yeah.
If we were him and Isaiah Simmons kind of at our linebacker spots. Like, I'm not sure I can pass that up here. But I think that J.C. Horn is like the safe pick. So I'll go with J.C. Horn for now because this team desperately needs a corner.
Yeah, I think that's a good consensus pick. This is interesting because, I still think the Raiders need help on defense, but, I can't ignore that they let 60% of their offensive line go. So I feel like I have to go O-line here. I'm going to take Christian Darrisaw out of Tech here. Just get a tackle. I was thinking Elijah Very Tucker, but I think I like Darrisaw a little more. I think he would fit well as a Raider, and I'm going to rock with that.
All right, so you picked up Devontae Smith at pick 3. I am now picking with the Dolphins' second pick at 18. And the guy who I was thinking about taking 2 picks ago, I'm going to take here. I'm going to take Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa. I really hope I spelled his name right.
Oh, linebacker.
I have no idea. I'm just going to say Owosu, all right? I have no idea how to spell his name. I'm sorry. But, yeah, just give me that rock of a linebacker. We have the secondary in Miami. Maybe we go D-line. I wouldn't be terribly surprised at that. There are some good D linemen on the board. I just think that of all the defensive players, Owosu Koromoa is the best player on the board. So I'll be taking him.
I like that. See, I wanted the Raiders to get him, but I just had to go O-line. Now, the football team here is interesting because I kind of just want to take Kwity Paye and just add to that beast of a defensive line where, the quarterbacks couldn't even breathe on any down. But, they have a hole at left tackle. Fitzmagic's going to be the quarterback day one. So I'm going to take Elijah Very Tucker here. Taking tackles. Dang, I'm taking tackles left and right in mine.
Yeah. You're going crazy with the tackles.
Well, I'm just saying, these teams need tackles, man. Maybe I should have been evens.
So I'm the Bears here. I'm not huge on this guy, but Trey Lance is on the board at 20. You're taking all the tackles. I seem to be taking up all the quarterbacks. I'm going to have to go Trey Lance here. I think this is... I personally don't love Trey Lance as a prospect. I wouldn't necessarily avoid him, but I think this is a little bit early for Lance with my grade on him. It's just the fact that the Bears quarterback room has sucked for years, and Trey Lance does have some talent. You get him in. I just don't really love the situation. I would have liked for the Bears to get a better quarterback than Andy Dalton in free agency so that I could be more comfortable sitting Trey Lance, because right now, if I take Trey Lance at 20, if this happens in real life, like, people are going to be calling for Trey Lance to start day one, and I think he's a very developmental prospect, but the value there is too great to pass up.
All right, 21's interesting because, I think the Colts' biggest need for me right now, guard, but I feel like I can get that later, like maybe in the second round or so. So I'm going to take a corner that I'm really high on, especially after I watched his pro day workout. I'm going to take Greg Newsome out of Northwestern. I think he's a guy that could fit very well in that spot and just shore up the secondary for the Colts.
All right, well, this is a nice little pick here for me. I'm going to take Kwity Paye here, an edge rusher. Fell a little bit farther than I expected to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, now I get a nice little tandem, because we were talking about earlier in the episode how Bud Dupree has to be that number one guy. Well, now I'm able to spread out my pass rush a little bit by getting another really good, talented pass rusher all the way at 22 in Kwity Paye. Take some pressure off Bud Dupree. I think it's a good move to get the Titans back to where their defense needs to be.
I like that. Jets. I still think the Jets are in a state where they literally can take anybody. I know a lot of people want them taking a running back. I'm not taking a running back. I'm gonna go Zaven Collins, man. I'm gonna get a little DN linebacker, like little hybrid stud out of Tulsa. I still really like his game. I could see him going earlier, but I think here at 23 is a good fit for him. I'm not expecting too much out of the Jets, but Saleh having 2 picks in the first round and being a defensive guy, I'm thinking, he's going to go defense on one of these picks, and I think Zaven Collins would be a good fit.
My Steelers are on the board, and I am not 100% sure who to pick here. I'm thinking about taking a tackle, but I'm going to hold off on the tackle and get the guy that I really want, and that's Javonte Williams. I know this might be a little bit of a reach, but I don't believe that he'll be there by the time that we pick in the second round. And I do think there will be a very serviceable tackle that will be on the board. I think for the Steelers as well, I do think that they'll bring back our left tackle, Villanueva. We have Banner that we just extended to play at the right tackle spot. I think that Chuck Okorafor we can move inside possibly. So we won't necessarily be forced to start a tackle day one, but I do think we'll bring a tackle in for competition. So the position that we desperately need on that offense is a running back, and Javonte Williams to me is the most talented running back on the board. He kind of checks all the boxes for the Steelers and what they look to draft. So if he's there at 24, I think that, when you look at Rashard Mendenhall years ago, I think that Javonte Williams is just a better version of Mendenhall, so I'll take him at 24.
All right. Jags here, I think this is a pretty easy pick. They need help everywhere on defense, especially on the interior defensive line. So I'm going to take Christian Barmore out of Bama.
Damn, that was my guy. I was going to take him next.
So I'm going to take Barmore. I think, you get a guy easily makes impact day one, especially Urban Meyer. Can fit him into a good role. I kind of like that pick for the Jags.
Browns here. What do I take if I'm the Browns? See, I really wanted Barmore for the Browns because I think that he'd be a nice little fit. I think it has to be pass rusher. So the question is, who is the top pass rusher on the board for me? What's that kid out of Penn State? What's his name?
I'm blanking.
Jason Oweh.
Yeah, Oweh.
I'm going to take Jason Oweh. I think that, I need to replace Olivier Vernon. I get a super talented pass rusher in Oweh. There are a couple other guys I can go here. Jalen Phillips, Osai. I mean, there's plenty of them. But I'm going to go Jason Oweh here at 26.
At 27, I mean, Ravens have lost a couple pass rusher in Ngabwe and Judon. So I'm just gonna fill that up. I'm gonna take a guy that I think could be a little more of a high ceiling kind of guy, in Jalen Phillips. He had with Rousseau out this year, he kind of really balled out for Miami and is now projected in the first round, a first round talent. So I think they get a good little piece to fill that gap where Judon has left them.
Who do I take if I'm the Saints here? This is a good question. It is really tough for me to pass up on a pass rusher here. I think that's the problem. This is a team we could use a pass rusher. The value matches up with the talent that's on the board. I'm gonna take Osai here. I know some people might like other pass rushers over Osai. I really like what I've seen out of Osai, though. I watched a couple of the Texas games, scouting offensive players, and this is a guy that just jumped off the board, jumped off the film to me. So I'll take him at 28, fourth pass rusher or fifth pass rusher off the board. I think that's a good value pick and a good little prospect for the Saints to get to continue to ensure their D-line is good.
Yeah. So Packers, I really want to go receiver here because I think that's still a need. But I after watching the NFC Championship game and I saw how much of a problem Kevin King was, I want to go corner, and I think Asante Samuel Jr. would be a good pair with Jair Alexander. And I'm going to roll with that.
Bills here. Damn, Asante Samuel Jr. would have been a great pickup for us. This is an interesting pick. I am leaning D-line here, and I'm going to pick up Davion Nixon, D-lineman. This is a D-line group I saw last year. I thought they had a lot of talent. It really didn't show up in a lot of the games. I think they started to find a group that was able to work towards the end of the season, but I still think it's a group that they should look to add talent to. With the corners that have been going off the board here, because Steed seems to have an addiction to taking corners here.
I love all the corners. I want them all.
Yeah, you just snagged them up all before my Bills picked. I'm going to go with Nixon. I'll look for a corner in the second round.
All right, so I get the Chiefs, and when I look at the Chiefs, we need tackles, right? Fisher and Schwartz are looking to be out, or
there are some good tackles on the board here.
Yeah, and the question is, who do I go with here? Again, I got to take another tackle. Give me Samuel Cosme out of Texas.
Yeah, that's who I would have taken.
I'm going to take him. Huge guy. Texas, but we got to fill the tackle hole, and I'm pretty sure I took at least 10 tackles in my round.
This is a weird Bucks pick, I'm not going to lie. Because we kind of brought a lot of the holes that we had back onto our roster. I don't think I want to force a running back at this pick because I actually kind of like the running backs that we have even without Leonard Fournette. So that kind of leaves me to either take a tackle, a receiver, or the best defensive player. And I'm going to take who I believe is the best defensive player on the board in Trayvon Moehrig, the safety. Yeah. I don't think we necessarily need a safety, but I'm just going to take the guy who I just think he's the best player on the board. So I'll take a safety. Maybe it's a corner. Maybe I take a receiver. Maybe I take offensive line. Maybe I fucked that pick up. I don't know. But I'm going to go with Trayvon Moehrig as a safety. just keep getting that defense better. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, and that'll be the mock draft right there. There it is.
Nice.
All right, Steve, initial thoughts on the mock draft? What did you think of that?
I am the king at offensive tackles and corners.
Yeah, I kind of liked the Greg Newsome pick that you had for the Colts here at 21. I think that's a really good value pick there.
Yeah. I'm a huge Greg Newsome guy.
Yeah, I think that he's a guy that's going to rise up draft boards and go around this area of the draft come April.
Well, I think his pro day really put him on the board because I know he's a very good player and he's always been, but I know he was injury prone coming into the season, that was a question, but I think you just get an amazing talent out of Greg Newsome.
Yeah, so this is the mock draft. Obviously a lot of people will be shocked for me taking Kellen Mond here. I think it's a perfect scenario for him to go though. Mac Jones at 8 to the Panthers. I like that fit for the pick that I took there. Yeah, that's basically it though. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching on the YouTube. We really appreciate it. And we're gonna peace out. See ya.
See ya.